Welcome to Video 2 in our Forgiveness series. Video 2 is going to help us explore choosing forgiveness or unforgiveness with a true story about a young woman who lost her leg in a car accident, which was not her fault. Just like your story, where someone has hurt or deeply offended you, she was a victim who was absolutely and horribly wronged. Imagine the pain and anger most of us would feel with such a terrible loss. For many years after the accident, she struggled with no sleep as she would wake in the middle of the night, screaming from excruciating phantom pain in the knee and ankle of the leg that no longer existed.
Worse than pain and no sleep, her life became consumed with anger toward the man who caused the accident, which quickly moved into a "why me?" rage against God that filled every fiber of her being. It didn't take long before her ideas about God were totally shattered. At first, she asked, "What did I do to deserve this?" But soon she decided it was God's fault. After all, if God was an all-powerful and all-loving God, why didn't He simply prevent the accident? The combination of these complex questions in what she felt were no good answers caused her to throw God out the window, no different than when she stopped believing in Santa Claus as a kid.
A couple of years later, her lawsuit against the man and his car insurance company ended with her winning $1 million plus judgment against him. Now she had money, but in her mind, the worst part was that he never apologized to her. Even with the help of coaches and counseling, she could not shake the fury and bitterness that she wore on her face. On the 15th anniversary of the car accident, she was so consumed with unforgiveness that she forced herself to call the man who hit her so she could demand an apology. Surprisingly, the man agreed to meet with her. So she prepared her speech and was ready to literally tear him apart, tear off his leg for what he did to her. When they met, to her total surprise, she discovered the man had suffered tremendously since the accident. He too couldn't sleep, was racked with guilt, got divorced, lost his job, and suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder since the accident.
Just like her, his inability to choose to forgive himself had cost him everything. Suddenly, the woman said she was able to take her eyes off her own pain and look at the pain of her offender. Because of this, she says that she now is finally able to forgive and finally feels free. What an enormous cost to both the man and the woman. How can anyone possibly put a price tag on this cost of unforgiveness?
The truth is, we rarely add up all the costs of unforgiveness. Instead, we hear Satan as he screams, warning us as loudly as he can that forgiveness will cost us. He continues to feed us lies like, know your rights, stick to your guns, hang on to your bitterness, and you deserve to be mad. Then, Satan whispers over and over that giving up these things will cost us dearly. Isn't this what happened to the woman who lost her leg? The truth is choosing unforgiveness cost her dearly for 15 years.
Sadly, we all get caught up in these lies at different times. Perhaps they are the big reasons for so many divorces, broken relationships, and so much anger in the world. Yes, there are many costs of unforgiveness that add up quickly and cost us dearly. Now we can choose to stay in Satan's know your rights camp. We can choose to be offended, and we can say, to hell with the costs. Or we can begin to discover the freedom of forgiveness, starting with two important questions. The first question is, what would make things even or give you peace in your situation? Unfortunately, no one asked the woman in our story this question. She received over $1 million, and that didn't make things get even or even give her peace. And what if the man had lost his leg too? Would that have done it? Not at all, because that would not take away her suffering. In fact, her learning of the man's suffering never lessened her own pain, but the pity that she felt for him helped her to see how she'd been locked in a prison of anger for 15 years simply because she chose unforgiveness.
This leads us to the second question. Do you remember the story of Jesus healing the crippled man in John 5, verses 1 through 8? Before the miracle happened, Jesus asked the man this important question: do you want to get well? Even though he could have, Jesus didn't take pity on the man and instantly heal him. First, he asked if the man wanted to get well. It was only after the man said yes that the miracle took place. So, here's the second question as you consider forgiveness or unforgiveness. Do you want to get well? Do you want to be healed and be free from the anger, hurt, sadness, pain, and suffering you're experiencing right now? As you consider these questions, watch video 3, which is our next recommended video called Forgiveness, a Secret Lesson from Jesus. God bless you, and we'll see you in the next video.